Hi everybody, welcome back to Carrie's Kitchen. I'm Carrie, this is my kitchen. Today we're going to make a fantastic cashew and tofu curry. It's going to have 3 different types of beans loaded with good healthy vegetables and peppers. And we're going to serve it with some honey cornbread. Really delicious in cold weather. Okay, so my first step, I've got my stock pot nice and hot on medium high. I'm going to add some olive oil. So I've taken 1 yellow onion and 3 organic carrots and fairly finely diced them. For this particular recipe, I don't want giant chunks. You want them pretty finely diced or chopped. A little salt and cracked pepper. Okay, so the carrots and onions have been sizzling, simmering, and sauteing for a little while I chopped up half of 1 green bell pepper and 1 jalapeno pepper. I seeded it and diced them both. So we're going to add that. Always start with your carrots and onions first because they need to cook the longest. And I'm going to add this in. Nice and evenly with a touch more salt. And another quick crack of pepper. I like to layer the seasonings. I feel like the flavoring is always better incorporated that way. So now I'm going to chop up 2 cloves of garlic. That's my next step. All right, so now my garlic goes into the pan. Perfect. So this is on a medium-high heat. There's plenty of liquid in there that the garlic shouldn't burn, but you don't want it to be in there too long either. So I'm going to let that simmer for maybe 1 minute. During that time, I'm going to open 2 cans of all natural. I prefer Hunt's because they have no junk in it, but any of your natural brands will be that way. All this is diced tomatoes. 2 cans of diced tomatoes. And into the pot they go. You can start with a little bit less, but I recommend 2 tablespoons, at least 2 tablespoons of the chili powder. And we're just going to kind of let that marry with the tomato sauce that we have going here, with the tomatoes, peppers, carrots, and onions. And now that it's starting to percolate and come to a boil, it's going to be time to put in our tofu. I have got an extra firm sprouted tofu. I prefer sprouted tofu for the nutrition aspect. It just has more nutrients in it. But any sort of super firm tofu or extra firm tofu is great for this. I like the sprouted personally. They sell it at Trader Joe's. You can also get it at Whole Foods. Try and get non-GMO. I always get non-GMO tofu as well. Natural. All natural stuff. So this is a great source of protein. It's going to add a good texture. If you're not a big tofu fan, this is a great recipe, or you don't know much about tofu, this is a great recipe to start with because the texture, once you add in the cashews, it's a really good introduction to tofu. It doesn't taste very tofu-y, but you're getting the protein and the nutrients from the tofu, which is great. Just drain the packet, and then we're going to crumble it like this with your hands. Almost like you're using a queso fresco or a feta cheese and you want it more finely crumbled. That's what we're going to do. And it's very easy to do. You just kind of crumble it up in there. I kind of like this part. So now I'm going to add a little salt to that because tofu doesn't have much flavor on its own. You got to give it its flavor. Incorporate that in with the tomatoes. As soon as I hear it coming back to life, I'm going to turn this down to medium and put a lid on it while I open my beans. All right, so today we're going to use dark red kidney beans, organic, so it doesn't have any of the calcium chloride or any preservatives. You don't need that stuff. That, a can of organic black beans, and a can of organic pinto beans. We're going to drain them and dump them in. Now, if you don't like a lot of beans in your chili, I've made this with just 1 can of red kidney beans, and that's really good. I felt like beans tonight, so I'm adding all 3. And again, they've been drained, and they're all natural, organic ones. There's nothing in here but the beans and some salt and water. So they have been drained and at it, I'm going to incorporate those. Okay. So I'm going to let that get back to work and chop up my cashews. Okay, so I have 1 cup of roasted unsalted cashews, and I'm going to chop them up. And this is how I do it. Take them on your cutting board, and you take one of your bigger knives, lay it on its side, and you smash them. First I smash them, and then I go through and chop them. You will be very surprised at how much the texture of cashews in the chili mimics having a meat, like a ground beef. It and the tofu together make for a wonderful meat substitute in a vegetarian chili. So what I'm looking for here is just an even consistency, that I don't have any big chunks that would be recognizable as a cashew, but you still want to be able to bite into it. So you don't want them to turn into powder either. Almost like you're going to put them on a sundae. And into the pot they go. Awesome. So now this is all incorporated. It looks fantastic. It needs to cook for a while though, so I'm going to put a lid on it. This is a great thing to do, to cook it on the stove for say an hour and a half and then put it in a crock pot and let it hang out all day or all evening at a party, and then it's just ready anytime anybody wants it. It's getting that steady, indirect heat that way. But right now I'm going to cook it for dinner. So I'm going to let this cook for about, I'm going to give it an hour and a half probably. So in an hour, I'm going to go ahead and make my cornbread so that it's ready to go. Okay, so for cornbread, you can make a homemade cornbread. I'd be happy to post a recipe. As a matter of fact, I probably should, so that you have a homemade from scratch cornbread recipe on the site. However, this is the best cornbread shortcut I have found so far. It's Krusteaz honey cornbread. It's 100% natural. There are no artificial flavors, colors, preservatives, and it's delicious and moist and fantastic. You can make it as per package directions. I do it in the muffin tin as muffins rather than the bread. I just find it's less messy and it's an individual portion for everybody. And you can add, I'll do it totally plain, or you can add 1 seeded diced jalapeno to the mix before you put it in the cups. That's a really good addition. Or a green chili. Dice up some green chili and put it in there. I prefer to dice up a green chili that has not been canned. I think that the result is better. But you could use canned green chilies too. Just try and get the excess juice out so that it doesn't screw up your liquid portions. Anyway, Krusteaz, this is the one if you want a boxed one. And that's what I'm going to do tonight. Cutting that corner. So here you have it. A fantastic tofu and cashew chili. I like to top it with a little bit of shredded cheese. And then of course some sour cream. I do a dollop in the center. And then we serve it with the cornbread muffins that we made and then an array of hot sauces so that anybody can kind of doctor it up however they want. I've got everything from Tapatio to Tabasco to a garlic sauce, a nice little variety. It makes it fun and everyone can sort of personalize their chili. All right, I think today I'm going to use a little bit of this Dave's Gourmet roasted garlic. There we go. Just a little bit of that. And some red Tabasco. Et voila. Enjoy!